We are the Nerd Eternal Network.
And then through dread Uriel, God Almighty cursed me, saying, Then, for as long as you walk this earth, you and your children will cling to darkness. You will drink only blood, you will eat only ashes, and you will be always as you were at death, never dying, living on. You will walk forever in darkness. All you touch will crumble into nothing until the last days. Hello, and welcome to Dire Bear. It's, of course, Tuesday night, so it's our Vampire 5th Edition Chronicle, Valley by Night. I'll be your storyteller for the evening, Jason, from over at the Nerd Eternal Network. And joining me as usual will be Sarah, playing Jolene. Eric, playing Samuel. Duba, playing Alexander. Rap, playing Maeve. She'll be joining us shortly. And Decca, playing Blackjack, who is here with us, but will be joining us on cams shortly.
Howdy.
So for the moment, you may see two Samuels on the screen. Don't let it freak you out too badly.
I was like,
Alright. Last time, there was a little kerfluffle at Burritt on the Mountain.
A little.
A little? Just a small misunderstanding.
Samuel was called up there. His clan leader, Alejandro, was setting up a ritual that was supposed to help find Mother Dorcus, Grandmother Dorcus, and the Nosferatu. But on his way up there, Jackie, one of the other Tremere, sent him a little text warning him that it was a trap. He rallied the troops, and while he was taking time to do that, Jolene was kidnapped out of the Waffle House. Completely blanked on Travis's name for a second there. Her dear friend Travis, source of fear to all thin bloods in the city for several years now, had apparently changed sides. Samuel spotted them on the road driving by. Him and the Coterie moved in with the sheriff and deputies coming in as backup. They arrive on the scene to recognize not just the Tremere there, but also some of the Bali. And that's where the kerfluffle was. Big fight. I thought Travis did fairly well, considering he was getting jumped on by 3 people. But in the end, virtually everyone was captured, with the exception of Alejandro and the whatever the Bali call their head people. Head priest? I don't know. The actual ritual they were pulling off was an attempt to awake whatever was sleeping under the city. It involved sacrificing a lot of the thin bloods, the ones that had been captured months ago by this point. A few of them were only impaled, so those survived. Though they are probably in need of some therapy now.
Yeah. Just a smidge.
But there were at least 4 or 5 of them that had met final death as part of this ritual. That's right. I think it was 5, and Jolene was going to be the 5th one.
Mm-hmm.
They were bringing her in for. They were just one shy of how many they needed. Now, having said that, trying to think, was there anything else?
Blackjack staked Travis.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he and the
Would
he
a
and the
bitch
captured
do
Tremere that had turned traitor, and all the Bali were all staked out for the sun.
Yep.
In Travis's case, he got a circle of thin blood standing around him, talking to him while he burned. Nothing sick about that at all.
Not at all. Typical vampire shit.
But the day after the interrupted ritual, Samuel, his sire Henry Morgan, and Jackie, I guess that's the only 3 Tremere left in the city at this point.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
There's a wrap now.
Yes, she just came through.
Give it about 15 minutes for me.
Turn her sound back on.
She probably has to switch over to her headset too.
Sounds like she did.
All right, she should be live now.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
Anyway, so our 3 Tremere, along with several of the Malkavians in the city, had dreams that morning of something tossing and turning under the city. It's like they were it in the dream, and they were trying desperately to stay asleep while this chanting noise was trying to rouse them. There were even a couple of the Thin Bloods that had been using the what they've been calling the ICU potion. A few of them reported waking up feeling like they'd been having nightmares, but not having any memories of what it was. The best theory come up with is that maybe it's some kind of side effect of using that potion that gives them a fraction of auspex. The next month, because this took place in September, and we were jumping up to the tail end of October for the night session. In that downtime, Samuel and Henry are trying to get the chantry reorganized. Not that there's a whole lot to organize at this point, as far as staff goes. There are still several ghouls employed by the chantry. The chief of staff, if you will, ducked out the night Alejandro ran. It appears he took some of the more sensitive materials that Alejandro was keeping locked up with him. Don't know if Alejandro called him when things went south, or if this was a backup plan they already had in place. No telling. The rest of the ghouls are questioned under dominance, and were basically clueless that anything was going on. The Tremere do not, as a habit, keep their ghouls really well informed about their plotting and stuff. At the prince's insistence, though Samuel and Henry probably thought it was a good idea as well, Jackie was also questioning their dominance. And she says she knew Alejandro was talking to somebody outside the city. It never occurred to her that it'd be the Bali. She assumed it was likely the Tremere of another city. Maybe anarchs or something at the worst, She didn't know it was Bali till that night, which is when she slipped Samuel the text, and then tried to get away herself, but wound up getting caught. Left it out of the review, but they found her staked in one of the back rooms. Over this month, you're pretty sure she's dealing with some survivor's guilt. She feels bad about, kind of the rest of her generation of Tremere getting wiped out. While she's trying, but trying not to show it, because that's not really, the Tremere try not to be that emotional or try not to have that kind of attachment. Samuel and Henry's relationship being abnormal for the Tremere.
Yeah.
While no one is technically in charge of the Chantry at the moment, everyone's kind of deferring to Henry and Samuel. Probably more to Henry due to his greater age. The Prince has invited Henry into the Primogen meetings, not as a member of the Primogen Council, but a lot like a Reef from the Banu Hakim, he's in there as an advisor.
Okay.
Maeve, you get contacted by Colin. This is a week or so later. He was confronted by some Nosferatu. The people that had been following him after he found those tablets, they were apparently some of Dorcas's people. She wanted the tablets. They roughed him up a little bit. When they found out he'd already passed the tablets on to his client, they began demanding, information on the client. He led them back to where the swap was made and told them the client was camping just inside the refuge. He doesn't expect to see them again. And he is kicked down the road to Madison, which is a city that practically butts up against us. So he's right next door. But he figures it's less likely that Dorcas's people would be looking for him over there.
Yeah.
He's keeping his head down, but it's close enough that he can get into the city if you needed his help at some point. He's uneasy about leaving you while the city's in a state of war like it is.
Especially since I won't leave.
Now, once the Dorcas thing is resolved, then he'll probably beat feet like he usually does. He has been hanging around Huntsville a lot for him. He's usually more of a traveler. Maeve gets a letter left for her at her club, or I guess it's more of a bar, really, that she works at, from her Malkavian buddy, Jack Babbling Brooks. All it says is that he and the children have been talking, and they think when she goes under the city, she should take the foreigners with her.
And of course, she's gonna think foreigners. What foreigners?
But that's all. The note's not even signed. It's just one of your other one of your buddies on the that also works security at the bar. One of the other bouncers, I should say. They describe Jack. They left by this weird guy, and they proceed to describe Jack. During this month, the security at the ledges repel a few attempts by the Nos to break into the ledges. No full-scale assaults. It's all stealth-based. One woman did manage to get in and basically beeline for Samuel's house with a couple of jugs of gasoline. But Samuel had the place warded. And refresh my memory, do Samuel's wards not let anybody through, or do they just alert you that somebody is trying?
Yes.
Okay. I was thinking that they at least stopped him. So
Yeah, they stopped him. They act as a stop and an alert. I think we put together it was a combination of his knowledge of Walker Boyer's ward,
that's right.
and
That's
combination
right.
with his own warding knowledge with a high tier blood sorcery. That and the ward around his house is a class 3 haven defense. So
anyway, she got to the property line essentially. But couldn't get through. She basically ran right up to it, and then at hesitation, she got spotted. The ward had triggered, so you were immediately calling. She had done it in the night when Samuel was at the hospital. So she got caught, and in being questioned, she revealed that the Notch knew Samuel was at work. The attempt to burn down his haven, while kind of a jab at him, was really an attempt to kill Alexander. They assume Alexander is staying with Samuel. Which is probably a good sign, because it means they don't have good enough spies in the ledges that they knew Alexander had moved to a different haven. Alexander gets pressed into service, helping them secure the ledge's back door. The main entrance in and out of the ledges, of course, is the road that goes down into Jones Valley. But on the opposite side of the mountain, there's another one that comes down. It is not used quite as often, except by people on that side of town. They've been impressed with the work he's done. His camera works, the way he's got his system set up where he can tap into the Kind's security stuff. So they have him set up a similar setup on that side. The two coteries that run that side, that run the area near where that road comes out, the Pick and Spring Coterie and the Big Cove Coteries, they're very social. One of them is basically all Ventru, very business oriented, not so much in combat or security on their own. That's always something they hire people for. So while Jolene when Jolene was kidnapped, a worker at the Waffle House was knocked out, and her friend was held at gunpoint, and Travis shot a customer going out the door. Jolene's friend has quit. There was a shooting up early in the year, and then there was this shooting, and she's decided that's enough for her. She's just going to go retire and help her daughter with the grandbabies. She's quite upset about what happened, though in her memories, it wasn't Travis that came and did all of this, it was Eddie. Taking Jolene at gunpoint and killing that poor customer. But she tells Jolene about the nice man in a suit that, where Travis had put the clothes sign up. This young man had failed to notice that, and he'd come on in, seen what gone on, and got her untied, called the police for her. This young man was actually the Ventru clan whip. The prince had told Jolene that he'd take care of the thing at the Waffle House. This is how he did it. Tyler knew was his name. He went in, fiddled with her memory, called in some of the police that he had influence over to kind of smooth things over. Jolene was basically given a script to tell the police, basically making it out like it was Eddie, which will allow them to put pressure on Eddie if he's still anywhere in this part of the state, as the prince would still like to get his hands on him.
Get in line.
And of course, another shooting at the restaurant does make the news, but nothing that would. It's not an odd news story. It's just kind of, oh, this horrible thing happened again. Nothing Masquerade threatening. Let's see. Other than that, I think Samuel was trying to woo Obla. And she's up for spending some time together, but
Yes.
with the way the state the city is in, it's not really safe. So there's not a whole lot of like going off and doing things alone. It's more, meeting her at the college. Where her father and the two warriors of her clan and actually they even have a thin blood assigned to help them out. In the thin blood's case, it's just to spot things. Oh yes, and you sent a message to your great-great-grandsire,
Yes.
Carl, I'm blanking on his last name.
Carl Franz.
Who is the leader of one of the larger factions of Clan Tremere. Been a Justicar for quite some time. A name that strikes fear in people if they think he's showing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe you said the letter was basically just explaining what had gone on with the situation with Alejandro and the Bali.
Yeah, and the old one.
Ah, yes, the old one sleeping under the city.
And it was coded in the way that his line is known to do.
You have not received a response from that. Henry expects that you will, if for no other reason than we kind of have verification there's a Methuselah in the area. That's the kind of thing that would drag him out here. Alejandro and the Bali and stuff. He'd put a price on Alejandro's head or whatever. And, use his influence to get a sect-wide blood hunt called on him.
Mm-hmm.
But wouldn't necessarily make a personal visit for that. I feel like
Samuel would write in there that sort of basically in code that he has a lot of evidence pointing towards a Methuselah being in the city.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I left one thing out of the month. I forgot there were 3 Thin Bloods were injured during attacks. The Nos seem to have cranked up the number of flat-out attacks they're making on people.
Like Jack's farm being rebuilt.
Yeah, I think I skipped through a whole paragraph or something in my notes.
Yeah. I also DM'd you something, but it's not important because it's kind of secret.
Did you?
Secret tunnel.
No, I did not get that stuck in my head.
All right, let me find out where I lost myself in my notes.
I think right where it had the thin blood attack.
Yeah. I skipped from the Maeve stuff down to the. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, 3 of the Thin Bloods were injured. One of them quite badly. There was an attack on Miles Ross, the Toreador Primogen, who the Nos had already taken a shot at once. Well, generally the Thin Bloods will act as spotters. This particular... Let's see, did I say if it was
You gave my name.
Okay, I didn't go into that detail. But this fellow, unlike some of them that were the ICU potions the only thing that perfected, he's managed to get the one that gives him some strength.
Star pupil.
So he'd actually quaffed that right quick and run up and punched one of the guys that was trying to take Miles' head.
Hell yeah.
And for his trouble, got a huge slash, almost bisecting his torso with a machete. Vampiric strength and a machete is a bad combination. Especially if you don't have fortitude. This attack was caught somebody caught this attack on a cell phone camera. From far enough away that, they couldn't, the Nos had their hoodies up, so they couldn't really tell anything weird about them. Though they could tell that person had been terribly injured. Miles loaded him up in the car and took off straight to Crestwood, into the emergency room, because he knew knew Samuel would be there. So steps were made that, again, news of this attack made the news. The video from the camera wound up online. But you were kind of able to quieten it down to some degree. Yes, the person was, badly injured, but not as bad as the camera, as that bad footage had made it look.
This is why Samuel has a herd of nurses. Is that nobody other than his herd and him really got to see in depth the injury.
Yep.
I'm on Zoom now, by the way, Jason.
Oh, okay.
Typed in the right password 4 times, and this password didn't work. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Samuel basically, he dressed the wound a bit to make it look a lot less severe than it actually was. That may donate
and being a thin blood, as long as y'all were feeding him, he could heal himself relatively quickly.
Yeah, he brought in a blood transfusion to help him heal, to basically lessen the injury. And then that's all that. And he did his usual cover-up thing.
Done it once, done it a million times.
That's part and parcel of why he still works at a hospital. Aside from, look at all of this blood I have access to.
And all of the thin blood alchemists thank him.
Yeah.
And all the nurses he has access to.
Mm-hmm. But
A single scandal on record.
Alright, let me give you just a second to change everybody's names around.
But that's partly why he still works at a hospital. Is if anything gets caught and the kindred is sent to a hospital or something, Samuel's there to.
Yeah, if Samuel wasn't there, they would at
Masquerade.
least have some ghouls stationed. The emergency room is just the kind of place that
But they have a Tremere.
All right now.
Which
For
is
some
now
reason, it is
one
not
of
going to grab my
only 3.
zooms today.
Mm-hmm.
That's still.
Well, but before V5, the Second Inquisition absolutely decimated the Tremere clan. I think a popular statistic I heard is the Tremere are down to maybe 20% of where they were before the Second Inquisition hit them.
Yeah, a lot of the chantries were here.
They're just doing it to themselves.
Well, it doesn't help that the Tremere are very prideful.
No, that pride is generally what causes the folly of many people.
Yep.
All right.
And yeah, but
Anyway, so a couple of Thin Bloods were injured. One of them particularly badly. He's back on his feet a few days later, so it's not that bad. But some of the Thin Bloods are unnerved by this. But several of them are talking about the fact that if they can make it to the other side of all this trouble, they should come out in a better position in the kindred community because they've proven themselves useful. Welcome with open arms? Probably not. Treated as equals? Probably not.
Getting closer.
But better than what they were before,
But
probably yes.
But the best way to get a kindred to not kill you casually is to prove yourself useful to them.
A better way of proving useful than punching the shit out of a Nos.
Yes, Miles is quite taken with that little bit of bravery. From what filters back to Jolene, he has basically made that Thin Blood, essentially off limits to the usual, bad mouthing and I'll, for lack of a better term, bullying. The rest of Thin Bloods, but that one you leave alone.
Jolene, okay with
it's
with that.
it's kind of the same with
It's a step.
kind of the same with Jolene in regards to Samuel. His whole thing is that Thin Blood's mine. You leave her alone.
We're just glorified really adaptable puppies.
Flowers with emotions.
Y'all are just cats running in human hardware.
Yeah.
You look back at the entire chronicle and tell me Jolene is not a cat running on human hardware.
Yeah, she would fist fight someone for half a stale bagel.
Would she has?
Yeah.
She has to fist fight someone for no fucking reason.
Uh-huh.
You want to go?
All right, let's finish up this review right quick. We're getting all on
Sorry.
tangents.
Yeah.
And we have so little time left. All right.
Yes.
Construction begins on Blackjack's new barn. The insurance company finally paid out. His ghoul, whatever his name is,
Gargano.
Gargano. I was close.
It's one of the easiest. It's one of the easiest names I've ever given you.
Gargano.
No, it's not an easy name to remember.
He says that's
Well, the
easiest
Gar
one
part
he's
I can kind of
given.
remember, and then I always blank on the second half of it. Anyway, he's out of the hospital. Still has to take it easy, but he's on the mend. Like I said, their contractors are there. They're working on the barn. They're working on the house. He's showing up and supervising them, much to their annoyance. Let's see.
I think that was it.
Yeah, I think that pretty well catches us up. Like I said, there was that couple of paragraphs I missed in the middle for some reason. So, like I said, it is late October. Yeah, not quite Halloween yet. And while usually the Kindred of the City would be planning some sort of little Halloween ball or something,
Been a little busy.
yeah, this is really not the opportunity. You know, they don't really want to gather everybody together in one spot. I mean, they could have it at the Ledges Elysium, which would be, you know, the safest, but that would also look like they were, you know, too scared to have it, you know, at the old bank or at Bird on the Mountain. Though Bird on the Mountain's got some repairs got to be done on there. That also makes the news, but only that vandals had shown up and damaged the place, and so you know it was closed for repairs.
Those damn thugs getting into everything.
Throwing cars at buildings.
Alright, so the sun sets on this evening in October.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody give me rolls.
Okay.
What would our hunger have gone back to? What are we starting out at? 2?
Yeah, let's go ahead and start it too.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm sure some of y'all may have been lower than that, but
I'm hungry.
I'm not hungry. That's fine. I'm happy with that.
It's like
I'm gonna
we
go.
all get hungry.
I'm gonna just go immediately tap my herd. Just be like, fuck it.
Yeah, me too.
Just bring that back down. No.
Lena's still living in the Ledges, so has a Capri Sun.
oh, that's right, because the Thin Bloods are being fed at the moment.
I'll
Yeah.
take that point.
Shit, am I in the ledges?
No.
Well, no, the Thin Bloods are being given us a blood stipend,
Very
basically.
Samuel, no.
Okay, you said we're going to get.
Well, actually, though,
Okay.
everybody in the Coterie is allowed in and out of the Ledges at will at the moment, remember?
Sure.
Yeah.
Y'all are
Yeah,
considered
where would-
frontline.
Because
Blackjack's a deputy at the moment.
his house is pretty much still under construction.
Yeah, so he would kind of be where the Thin Bloods are, wouldn't he?
I was staying at Casa del Thin Blood.
Or he would just have Constantine Thin Blood to himself.
That's
Mhm.
cool with me. I have like six rooms to myself. Hell yeah.
It's warded, so, you know.
Entire
Yeah.
building.
Mm-hmm.
What are they gonna do? Burn it down? They have to get the awards first.
They can.
Next night, 3 Nos outside with flamethrowers from outside the ward.
They have
You're
to
like,
pass
what
their
if-
own restrict check.
Bitch, do this.
Well, they just get an extra long nozzle on it so it's further away from them when it comes out. Not a problem.
Weird Rube Goldberg machine.
How?
So yeah, I guess we would stay
set
at Casa
that
del
up?
Terror for now.
Make the place look lived. Stay in a different one every night so the place looks lived in.
Yeah.
Alright. Alright. So y'all awaken. Now, Sarah, you'd made a joke at least last week about Jolene quitting, throwing in her 2 weeks or whatever after the
Oh
shooting.
yeah, no, she would have definitely been 2 weeks. Like, I'm just gonna step back from this for a while. That was a little unnerving. I hope y'all understand.
And the managers have no problems. Hey, they're just glad you're okay. After what happened at the beginning of the year and then this, it's just awful.
This is high fantasy because the managers actually care.
Yeah, well, this is sorry, you're breaking me out here.
Well, the shift leads seem to actually care. The actual head manager, he may be half looking at Jolene as the cause of this. Some crazy dude she knew came in and, okay, yeah, maybe you should go. Okay. But that's not how he words it. It's like, oh no, I completely understand why you might want to leave.
Kidnap and, guy got shot, but... Are you coming in tonight?
Too real.
God, what? Yeah, no, that just hit kind of home right there. Just hearing that.
Solidarity, retail workers. You're the backbone of this country.
Hell yeah.
I was fixing to
Retail and
say,
fast foods workers, we salute you.
and don't feel bad, most of us are retail workers, so we're in that pain with you together.
Oh yeah.
I'm retail, but I work thirds. I have like maybe an hour that any customer might say something to me. So
You're lucky then. I would love to work thirds. Are you kidding me?
Absolutely not.
it's not that it doesn't have its own issues,
Back on.
but as long as you can handle the sleep schedule, it's so much easier.
Back on. Get off the tangent. Back on the.
Yes.
Back on the
Focus.
rails. I'll try and hurt us.
It's gonna be like herding cats, but
I have experience with it.
No, ma'am.
fair enough.
I'm sorry. I have my claymore. I am slamming it into the tracks. I'm jumping this bitch off for at least 5 minutes. We'll hop back on when we get to better ground. I kid.
All right. Yes, Otter, herding cat people. All right. So y'all all wake up. Jolene, you're not having too hard a time adjusting. Where it's weird, not having to go in to the restaurant. That's really just more time that you have to pour into the alchemy stuff that you've been doing lately. By this time, you've got all the Thin Bloods trained where they can do at least the ICU potion. And like all the Thin Bloods, you have to, put in some time doing patrols and stuff. Though they always keep you on the patrols in the ledges. Attempts have been made on some of your coterie mates. Your coterie is still considered kind of a prime target, so it just seems foolish to them to send you out, out there when they have to have somebody here in the ledges anyway. So
Go check this dark alley.
It's half a world of darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you and Blackjack were having to feed, but he was tapping the herd. You were just using the stipend, and nobody else needed to hunt.
No.
I think
Okay.
Samuel said he tapped
I think Sam
his
also
herd,
tapped his
too.
herd.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm gonna tap 1 point of my herd because I was at hunger 3.
I'm gonna do the same just because you said that we went up. You were making us go up to 2, and I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, wait, I was at 1. He made us 2, so that makes me 3. Okay, so I'll have to do the same. Just tap 1, make us 2, make it 2.
I just tapped both my herd. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's perfect.
That's right, because you had gotten a new pantry set up in your
New quote unquote haven.
right.
Or
'Cause
temp haven.
your temporary haven was the basically the bomb shelter up under one of the houses in the ledges. And the house was it Clan Ventru? A couple of Clan Ventru that were in that house up above you.
I think so.
Okay,
Just live in the basement of the Seneschal. Just like every now and again they see a rat.
they're not somebody that important, no. But it's some of Nora's people.
Yeah.
Though it would probably have been funnier if I'd made it some of the Toreador. But anyway.
I mean, totally could be.
But, whoever they are, they're thrilled at the idea that you're breeding rats down there. Totally thrilled.
I believe it.
But, on the other hand, though, your security's been helping keep their haven safe, so, like everything in the business world they deal in, it's pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we have to deal with the squeaking of rats, but we don't have to worry about anybody getting inside.
Or setting the place on fire.
Well, that might still be a problem.
But it hasn't been so far.
It's been going good.
Or not.
Now, like I said, there have been multiple attacks going on throughout the city. One thing I did forget to mention was there's been a lot of the Nos involved in that are not Nos anybody recognizes.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, great. So
they-
they're
Generally, it seems to be newbies being led by an older Nos. Like the attempt on Miles, it was one of the former deputies leading this little gang, but the other 3 or 4 nobody recognized.
Still remarkably like shovelheads.
Look, man, when your enemy has a tactic that works, you adapt that tactic.
Unless you become the enemy.
It's one of the things that made the Roman Empire so strong for so long. Hey, that worked really well. We're going to do that to you from now on. Great. So this has got the Prince is really wanting to go on the offensive. There's been talk of leading a force down into the Warrens. Despite the dangers that entails, the current tactic is, what they're doing currently, just trying to catch them when they're on the surface, just isn't working out well. The Thin Bloods giving them so many more people that can see through obfuscation has been very helpful, and it's made the Nos much more careful. They're still doing guerrilla tactic, style attacks. So, Samuel, you've been called in for part of this with your, flame throwing abilities. They would definitely want you with them when this goes down. I forget. Did we ever say if Henry could do that?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I was thinking that was where.
We mentioned at the end after the attack at the Elysium with the ritual. They mentioned at the end, yeah, we found out that some Bali attacked Henry, and I was like, how dead are they? And you just popped up with, oh, they're just piles of ash. I was like, oh, okay.
So you and Henry would both be involved in that. It's been a long time since Henry's been like a frontline soldier, but you know,
yeah,
he was a veteran back in his day.
He was. Probably sitting here wondering what's gonna happen. Is like, you know, none of us have heard back from like Henry. If you heard from Carl, no. Just suddenly Carl out of nowhere. You rang.
Oh God, why?
Look, just because you wrote Carl doesn't mean Carl showed up. Carl's got a lot of things on his plate.
I know. It'd just be funny to see everybody's reaction to just a car being in the city.
Mostly terror.
Yeah.
You're letting the Thin Bloods in your house? Yeah.
What happened to all the Thin Bloods?
Fumigate.
Fumigate, firestorm. What?
Back on track.
Sorry.
But anyway, so you've been in at several meetings of the Primogen. You know, what they've been calling their war council, because it tends to be the Primogen, and then whoever else I think will be useful. So you know, you and Henry on the list to go in. Truthfully, most of your coterie is probably on that list. You work together well as a squad, and everybody has proven to be pretty effective in combat. A couple of the Primogen are like, even the Thin Blood? Hell, you know.
She can fly and punch people real good.
Can you fly, motherfucker?
Both Scylla and Charybdis go, and they realize, oh, he wasn't talking to us.
I'll be back.
But no, a few of the Primogen that had not heard the story about what went down at the quarry are a little surprised, and they're giving Jolene kind of the side eye. And you know, they're talking about bringing in Bruce and Anya because they're you know, even as mortals, they were experienced special forces, and they start going into what kind of equipment that you need if you're going to go, you know, extract somebody from, you know, cave systems and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, what kind of booby traps you need to look out for, you know. Let's see. All right, that's still between the. We gotta get back to the night. All right. So Samuel, you go to Crestwood. You know, you tap your herd.
Yes.
You know, one of the nurses.
Yep.
Please note, I did not say you go tap one of the nurses, because that would have been a phrasing issue.
Like that ever stopped us.
That's fair. I'm trying to end this with a little class. You're only there a couple of hours before somebody is brought in with a bite wound to their neck. And they are talking about this crazy homeless guy that jumped on him. You know, he smelled like he'd been rolling around in sewage. A quick examination of the wound. Yeah, it's definitely a kindred bite.
Yeah.
Even without the description of the person, of the attacker, you would immediately have thought Nos, just because the teeth aren't quite.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the man really needed braces. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Which is often a symptom of the nos.
Yep.
They did not get a good look at the attacker. So they're not talking about it being inhuman, just, they don't know he was on drugs, some of that, bath salt kind of thing, and, they've heard stories about what happened in Florida with that stuff,
Okay. Does it look like he just was fed on, or...
I come back to bath salts.
He's a little lightheaded, so maybe. The guy literally drug him into an alley, and, some of his friends had to come in and fight the guy off and get him away. The wound definitely is going to need a couple of stitches.
Right. He's going to work on that. But he is going to, while he's, doing paperwork, shoot off a text to the sheriff and we'll say, potential problem.
You get a text back. Do I need to send some guys over there?
Return response, not sure. Just had somebody admitted with a bite wound that looks like the attacker needed some braces.
I'll send one of my boys over to talk to you. And a little bit later, one of the Bruja deputies shows up.
And he'll escort the deputy over to the victim for them to talk.
So you have the deputy. You have the victim go back over it to the deputy.
And basically, if Samuel just sort of sit back and just observe and see if there's anything that looks off about about the victim at all.
Okay. The Bruja that shows up, he's not in the typical kind of, biker leathers kind of stuff. Several of the Bruja do dress like that. But,
yeah.
But the sheriffs, overall, the Bruja in this city are trying to appear more respectable. With the whole treason, treachery kind of thing floating over their heads.
Yeah.
So this one showed up, he's in a button-up, almost kind of business casual. The victim seems to just assume that he's a police investigator.
Yeah.
Like a plainclothes detective. And the deputy does nothing to dissuade him of this notion. Just starts asking him some questions. And he recounts basically the same story he was telling you. Describes about how tall the guy was. Didn't get a good look at him. He came out of nowhere. Drug me into the alley, was just kind of gnawing on my neck. Observing the victim, physically seems to be fine. You got him stitched up, and you got a lot of blood washed off, and you just kind of wait for some of the paperwork and stuff, the insurance stuff, to go through. And the actual police, have to show up and get it reported.
Right.
But other than that, the man seems shaken, but in the time you've been dealing with him, he's calmed down a lot.
Yeah.
Like I said, when you brought him in, he was a little woozy. But sitting there, he seems to be okay. When he stands up to, go to the restroom or whatever. He stands up and kind of, makes sure he's got his balance where he goes, but doesn't have any issues.
Okay.
So clearly the Nos didn't have time to do a full feeding on him.
Right.
The deputy, like I said, asked him a few questions, and gets out of sight. Says he'll talk to you, but he thinks he hears actual police coming. And the regular uniformed police come in, and the victim's a little confused. I thought I was just talking to a detective, but anyway, goes back over it with the police.
Yeah,
so you hear a third telling of the event, and it still matches up pretty good.
I will say before the police get to him, Samuel will use his dominate to make the victim forget that he talked to the Bruja deputy.
Oh, okay. Then the police come in and he gives his report. And his description of how tall the guy is varies by a couple inches from one telling to the next, but
yeah,
that's just typical eyewitness irreliability. So the police take that down. You hear as they're walking off, you hear a couple of them talking, wondering if it has anything to do with the disappearances.
He'll look at the deputy that's there. Did you hear that?
Yeah, there's been a rash of disappearances through the city.
Let's go to my office.
After you, Doc.
He'll lead him in. He'll close the door, turn on some sort of background music to help drown out any conversation. You think that they might be using that old Sabbat tactic again?
Well, we figure that's where they're getting everybody. The way the Nos... Well, what the Nos embrace does to people. We're having a hard time identifying any of the Nos that we take. We're having a hard time finding out who they were as kind. Because they don't usually live too long. Either they get away or you kill them dead.
Right.
Now the woman we caught in the ledges, she was somebody that lived up in Meridianville, which is a little community just north of Huntsville for anybody.
Yeah.
And they just kind of snatched her off the street.
So they're branching outside of the city and bringing them in.
Well, nearby, but yes. The trick is, as many disappearances as there have been, they'd have a hard time feeding that many people.
Yes.
So we think some of them are just being snatched and probably drained dry. It's enough of a thing that the police are really looking into it, trying to figure out what's going on. We've managed to keep it from hitting the national news or anything. A couple of the local stations have run little stories on it.
No. If it hit national news, there's no kidding. There's no telling how fast the Inquisition will be down on us.
It's always possible. I mean, it's still less disappearances than you get in places like Detroit.
Well, yes, but this is also a place that was hit by the Second Inquisition when our previous chantry burned.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they did really knock the crap out of you guys.
So it would be probably a prime suspect if people just start disappearing suddenly.
Oh, jeez, that's all we need is that coming on top of us.
Exactly.
Because the Nos would be hard for them to find. They'd be more like... I wonder if Dorcas could be doing this on purpose.
It's possible. Misdirect your enemy and you're more than likely to be able to move freely. Do you know if the princess found somebody to use the ritual that I've devised?
That's higher level talks than I'm usually involved in. I think I heard him talking to a reef. Actually, he probably used a reef last name. Shoot, I forget what a reef's last name. Anyway, Basically, he tells you it'd probably be a Reef and Henry Morgan. Or that he thinks he heard the Prince talking to a Reef and Henry Morgan about that. Those being kind of the two higher ranking Zakaria. Those being the two higher ranked, higher powered blood sorcerers in the city.
Right. Well, I'll definitely keep an eye out here. They're just snatching people, and if any get away, it's entirely possible they'd show up around here, especially with my domain being a prime target.
I kind of wondered that may be what happened. I mean, it might have just been some newbie losing control and a feeding, or they could have been trying to take this guy.
Well, considering how many people are arrayed against her, it wouldn't surprise me if Dorcas is having her higher level Nosferatu just snatching people and then throwing them to the wolves, so to speak, to keep her more powerful child or close. Distract us with the sheep and sneak in the wolves, so to speak.
Man, it'd been quiet here in town the last couple of years. Then this year, oh well. At least this year's almost over. I'm sure next year will be great.
Well, as nice a sentiment as that would be, I'd rather not jinx it. For all you know, some plague could hit the entire world or something.
Yeah, that's something the mortals have to worry about, not us, though.
Well, what if they were all just stuck in their homes and make it a lot harder to find food?
That would never happen.
You started this, Jason. I'm running with it.
Oh, we run wrap off.
Yeah.
She's just like, nope.
Fuck this
No,
shit. I'm out. No thanks.
Vinny is meowing at me because the bathroom door's closed and I'm tired of hearing him meowing.
What is it, that child in bathrooms?
It's a door that's closed. He doesn't like it.
No doors will be closed to him in his domain.
Basically. And it just hurts to walk.
I feel that.
Then life living with me is going to be interesting when I have to keep my door closed because I'm allergic to cats.
Listen, we will just douse you with Benadryl and Claritin and Allegrity every day, all day. Take it every 4 hours.
Sorry.
I'm just picturing a bathtub full of Benadryl.
Yeah,
We baptize you immune to cats.
that or one of those Fallout decon arches. You just walk through and just like.
I was just about to go, Sarah. You're supposed to be stopping this.
I've been trying to. I've been like twice.
She has, but she's saying, back on track.
As we go off track.
You need an air horn. Anyway. Alright, so you have that discussion with the deputy. And he's gonna take the information back to the sheriff.
Yeah.
Maeve,
Yes.
what are you doing on this fine evening?
Well, she's going to walk Vincent and then probably go to work if there wasn't something that popped up.
Suddenly Nos.
Would Vincent know that, since he's a ghoul animal?
He wouldn't be able to see them any better than anybody else.
Not see them, but
his sense
them.
of smell would probably pick them up. I don't think obfuscation does much to smell.
Okay.
And he does react a little stronger to kindred than he does to strange kindred than he does to mortals. Not that he likes either one of them. He doesn't like
Yeah.
anybody but you.
Mm-hmm.
Colin, he's gotten to where he'll tolerate, as long as you're around. And the Coterie, of course, he's used to, but he seems to have accepted them as part of your pack, so.
Yeah. But he still needs me around, otherwise
yeah,
he
yeah.
won't like him as much.
If you took him to the store and left him around everybody else, it'd probably be fine. If somebody else tried to get into your, tried to walk into your house and you weren't there, he'd probably go off.
Yeah.
So anyway, you walk Vincent, you get to work. You hear conversation from some of the bar goers about these disappearances. One of the guys, he knows a couple of people at his work that have just come up missing like that. From what you gather, they're both, he works at the Target Distribution Center. That's, not in Huntsville proper, but the two that have disappeared live in Huntsville. You managed to pick that up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking to some guy, and that guy's talking about the Channel 19 ran a story about there's been a spike in disappearances. Some of it may be runaways. And they just kind of they kind of talk about how it's odd, how odd it is that a person can just disappear like that, and why there's not a bigger, commotion about it.
Mm-hmm.
And how this city is, how this city has gone downhill, but at least it's not as rough as, Decatur that's still, fighting it, still dealing with all that gang violence. They don't even know what there is in Decatur that's worth gangs fighting over.
When she's gonna get a chance, she'll put into their group chat. Haven't you guys heard about the disappearances going on lately?
Yep.
Would Jolene have?
It's possible you might have caught the news, or it is not something that's going around in casual conversation among the kindred. That's not the sort of thing they really worry about, unless it starts to get, unless it gets to be a big enough deal that people get start getting suspicious of stuff. Alexander.
Yes, sir.
How would you be? How would Alexander be spending his time? Are you pretty much always on the computer, or?
That's probably what he'd be primarily doing, is just continuing to make sure that the defenses are bolstered, make sure, and he'd also, if he had heard word about the disappearances, he'd probably be doing like profile searches of people who are missing, where they were last seen, see if he might have any kind of camera activity of that area or where they might be.
Okay.
To see if he can pull something useful up.
Go ahead and give me a intelligence computer use. Or technology, excuse me.
Mm-hmm. No problem, boss. Let's see.
And here in a month we'll be playing a whole new game with a whole new list of skills for me to keep misreferencing.
I feel that.
It's actually not that bad. It's a great deal more condensed than Vampire is.
And this version of Vampire is more condensed than some of the previous ones.
Unfortunately, 3 successes.
Okay, that's not terrible. You can easily pull up. You've got access to some of the police files, so you can. You can easily pull up. Disappearances. Not everybody. There probably hasn't been a report on everybody, but there is a lot of missing persons reports. You can pull those up. Start kind of organizing them. As far as camera footage, the only thing that comes up is there was a woman leaving Target, the Target that's in Jones Valley, so that's your domain. That somebody ran up and grabbed her. And you can tell, even on the security camera, you can tell she's pregnant. Not several months along, noticeably pregnant. Doesn't look like she's about to, pop any day, though. That, it appears that he was hiding in the bushes, though as much as you rewind the footage and look at it, you don't see any sign of him until he's just suddenly there.
Is it that one lady?
What one lady? There's more than one pregnant lady in Huntsville, I promise you.
No, the one that we were guarding for Samuel's hedge mage buddy.
Oh, I'm blanking on her name.
But you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about. You can't really tell. The footage isn't good enough to really make out that kind of detail. Though what really catches your attention, like I said, he, going back and looking at it carefully, you just don't see any hint of him until he's there and grabs her. But as soon as he grabs her, he drops her like she's hot to the touch. He is actually kind of doing this, looking at his hands, where he turns around and runs off.
So the serious question is yes.
Well.
I remember how that purity thing works in V5. It's just as bad as sunlight sometimes.
But you're able to look it up. There was a police report, and when the guy runs off, pretty quickly you have a couple of people run over to her and make sure she's all right. She didn't fall when he let go of her, but she kind of stumbled a little bit. Dropped her stuff. And police report said they chalk it up to maybe it was going to be an attempted mugging. Now, what made him run off like that? Maybe he noticed she was pregnant and that just creeped him out, or made him feel bad enough about what he was doing. I should say that. They really don't know.
Baby phobia.
Maybe he thought she was somebody else and then realized he had the wrong person. She reports, or in her report, she mentioned that he had some kind of skin condition. Again, it's a guy in a hoodie. But she said there was something wrong with his skin up under there, The police don't seem to take that too serious. Maybe he had a rash or something. But that's really the only thing you get, only thing that comes up as far as you finding footage of something.
Okay.
Yes.
So you are doing part of your nightly patrols.
Uh-huh.
Tonight they have you patrolling the ledge's back door.
Sure.
Which, like I said, is around the Picket Spring, Big Cove area.
That all makes sense to me as the native from Huntsville.
Yeah. Well, to make it simple, you've got the Jones Valley domain, which butts up against the ledges. And then these two are two domains that butt up against the backside of the ledges.
Gotcha.
A little bit to the north of the Brat Pack's domain. Yeah, these are all domains on that side of the mountain the ledges are on. Technically, a lot of that area isn't really in the city limits because the city limits do these weird, follows a road and you have these weird squares and blips and all that. But it's all it's all in the Prince's territory.
Where it goes like this.
Oh, you just have these little square areas that aren't part of the city but are surrounded by the city, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of industry necessarily on that side, but there are neighborhoods and homes and shopping centers and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Prince counts all of that as his territory all the way out to the river, though. But while you're patrolling, a car pulls up behind you and flashes his lights at you. Like, bright and dim, not like police lights.
Okay. Okay, I guess he wants to pass. I'll pull over to the side and let him pass.
He follows you over, flashes his lights again.
I delete Ross.
Alright, fight or flight.
Yeah, it's fight. Let's be real, it's Blackjack. It's a fight response.
I say, is there a flight for Blackjack?
There was last week.
Uh-huh.
Boy, he can run fast when he's running away. Alright.
Hilarity's useful.
And I will...
You notice he ran slow getting to a fight. But then when he was running from a fight, he was really fast. I don't know what's going on here.
I blinked in and saved the Thin Blood's life. I don't want to hear that. Yeah, I'll...
You blinked in and grabbed Jolene and hurt her.
Can't prove that. I will pull over to the side.
Brewhard name only. Anyway. The car pulls in behind you. And you recognize the man that gets out. There's a couple more people in the car, but they don't get out. You see James Howell II. He's of Clan Ventru.
Right.
He is essentially the head of the Valley Cove Coterie, I think it's the Valley Cove Coterie. You're good friends, the Brat Pack.
Alright guys, I don't have enough time to do this. On patrol, so whatever you got, just come on.
I just come bearing a message.
Uh-huh.
Your friend in Decatur wants to know why she's not supposed to trust the Tremere.
I didn't know y'all got on like that. I specifically said do not trust the Tremere, as it were.
So, do you have a reason that I can give her back so she'll leave me alone about it?
Well, she beating your ass? Are you afraid of someone who can touch you and kill you?
Fear is a strong word.
Is it an accurate word?
Nonsense. I know you're
Sure.
good in a fight. I'm not afraid of you. I am appropriately leery of getting in a fist fight with you. Totally different.
Just tell them if they do come back with another word to just make sure that they are not also siding with the Bali.
Oh, that's all that was about. Okay. You're afraid it
What
might
do you
be
think
something.
it was?
I don't even know how you know her, so
I don't even know how you know her.
I was surprised. I was just surprised to find she had your name in her mouth.
Perks of being a deputy, I guess.
He goes, and I assure you, Lady Dishler is aware that I'm in, contact with a few people down in Decatur.
Is that right?
Feel free to ask her. I mean, not in a large group of people. I don't know how many people know about this, but her and the prince know.
Sure. It was, yeah. I just a lot of as you are well aware, there's only 3 Tremere here that haven't completely defected.
You don't think it's the entire clan, do you? Man, I hope it was just Alejandro and his brood.
Alejandro and his people is a lot of people still.
Yeah, but Alejandro didn't have any real connections to like the Tremere in Madison or well, the ones in Decatur before their chantry was burned. Though we're pretty sure the Anarchs did that one.
We don't know how far their reach goes, so better safe than sorry. Am I right?
When it comes to blood sorcerers, all right, I'll pass the message. I'll pass it on to her. That's all you were talking about.
So make sure and just be extra vigilant for Bali on these nights, because apparently they're everywhere.
She also said something about oh, let's see, how would she put it? What did you do what was it, September, the night everything went down at Bird on the Mountain? Because she was having nightmares during the day or something? Apparently a few other folks down in Decatur did.
I don't know nothing about no nightmares.
Something tossing and turning under the city? Okay.
I mean, that could be any number of things.
How good is Blackjack at lying?
He's not lying. He wouldn't know.
He'd have a pretty good idea from talking with folks in the Coterie, though. Over the
He hasn't
past
talked to
years.
his Coterie yet.
I just get this, really bad poker face image of him with a really bad poker face. That could be anything. I don't know what that could be about.
He's not a bad liar. I wouldn't say he's trying to actively lie, though. I wasn't sure how much people have talked to him about things.
Oh, Samuel's pretty good about keeping the Coterie in the loop.
Okay. Then yeah.
And Jolene would have heard about it from the Thin Bloods at the very least. So.
Yep.
Yeah, but is Blackjack smart enough to see it? Be like, okay,
Oh!
everyone who knows an Auspex discipline.
Blackjack would have heard it from Bobby, because I forgot they had partnered you up with Bobby Bedlam.
Sure.
In fact, he's probably in the car with you.
Okay.
But while y'all are talking, he has stepped back to the Brat Pack's car and is chatting with the other Malkavian.
Sure. Is it like one of those things? Is Blackjack smart enough to be like, okay, anyone who knows any Auspex discipline gets a nightmare now?
He might assume that, though it's not actually everybody with all specs.
Sure.
There's like a certain level of it that's required. Like I said, the Thin Blood didn't actually have the dream. They just felt uneasy.
I think it's one of those things where if you can see into the, I don't know, see the hidden or whatever the hell it is they call it, it can see you back.
Okay, that would explain. Mike seemed to know what she was talking about to some degree.
I don't know any of that stuff. I'm not. You put something in front of me and I can fight it, but if someone invisible comes at me, I'm.
You're a fighter, not a thinker. I understand.
Sure, whatever you want, however you justify it at night.
But
During the day, as it were.
all right.
Is there anything else?
No, I just need to report back to her that I passed the message along or the question along. I'll
Sure.
let her know what you said. He turns. He doesn't say bye or anything. He just turns around and walks back.
Bobby, let's get a move on.
You do hear him go, "Evening, Bobby," as he walks past, Bobby Bedlam. You just don't deserve any courtesy.
My coterie is better than his in every single way.
Is his car okay?
It's his car, okay.
I forget. Did y'all do something to his car? I know it got stuck in y'all's
Obliterated
champion.
it.
Do it
We
now.
obliterated it.
Well, we didn't obliterate it. We lifted it up and kind of dropped it, and I think we took a door off.
He's not in that car tonight.
Oh.
In fact, he was driving, so this may be his car where y'all did that to Mike's car.
Sure.
Mike was the Malkavian, by the way.
Continue on.
All right.
Bobby, you been getting nightmares too?
Oh yeah. A lot of us got nightmares. I think the Thin Bloods are involved.
They're not. They're not involved in the way you think they are. They're not actively giving you nightmares.
Well, I don't care. I mean, if they're accidentally giving me nightmares, that's still a problem.
It's better to take care of the Bali, who are the cause, than it is to take care of the Thin Bloods, who are just the resultant. Or a symptom of the cause, I suppose.
Congratulations, Jolene. You're just a symptom. You're not the disease. You're just a symptom.
I'm a fever and a loss of smell.
It's a COVID.
It's you.
Next year, Bobby Bedlam's like, they caused the COVID.
I can see that.
So you and Bobby load back up on your patrol. Despite how flighty Bobby can be sometimes, when you're on patrol, he seems to keep a pretty sharp lookout.
Mm-hmm. See anything?
He hasn't that night. Y'all have on a time or two run some Nos off.
Go on, get out of here.
Well, it's like you pull up and you come boiling out of the car, and they're already taken off by that point. Most of them you could outrun, but they're hitting sewer drain, storm drains, or sewer entrances. Or while you could run to keep up with them, once y'all get away from Bobby, they obfuscate and you can't find them, except at normal human speed.
Tackle
Because that's all Bobby can
thin
do.
air.
Once again, Blackjack forced to be slow.
Maybe if he put Bobby up on his shoulders, Bobby just turn his head to steer him.
It's a Ratatouille situation.
It's better too, yeah.
Oh, Otter has redeemed a stretch.
I like to stretch and
He
not
says it's the
stretch.
halfway stretch. Oh, that reminds me, I should probably turn on the
Oh, it is halfway.
Streamlabs.
Everything in my right arm just cracked.
Oof.
Welcome to old
I did
age.
glow stick.
I've been here a while. It's fine.
All right, I got the stream labels up.
Like a glow stick. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
without all the fun bioluminescence.
Do what now?
Cracking like a glow stick without all the fun bioluminescence.
Ah, yes. Well, that's probably good, because that doesn't involve actually having to break something inside the stick. Look, I can make my arm glow. Snap.
Yeah, after that, Blackjack just goes back on patrol.
Alright, later in the evening, Samuel, you get a notice from the prince, from one of the prince's people. Asking if you could, come meet up at the ledges later. Or at the country club later.
He will agree.
Bring your family. That's generally code for the coterie.
Okay. Me sitting here going, his family is here, so which one? He'll send out a group text and say, so have a bit of a get-together up at the ledges, wear something nice.
I feel like Blackjack has had an upgrade in his wardrobe now that he's a deputy.
They would certainly have encouraged it.
Yeah, it's less...
I certainly hope so.
Less overalls?
It's less overalls, it's more leather jacket and, like, some slacks. It's definitely still leather jacket. Maybe a trench coat. Someone's gotta be the new trench coat after Travis died.
Do you really want that title?
Well, the prince is in the market for a new scourge. Blackjack could be the prince's personal executioner. Less overalls, more coveralls. Like I said, you're not the only Bruja that still wears, still keeps at least some leather.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, Samuel will round folks up.
Okay.
Onward.
You meet up at the ledges, or at the country club in the ledges. The war council is essentially there. It's the Primogen, the prince, Arif, and Henry.
Right.
Actually, it's all the Banu Hakim are there.
Mm-hmm.
Abla has saved you a seat next to her.
Aww.
He'll sit next to her.
Blackjack will just be kind of in the corner, like this. Leaning back in the corner.
Maeve would be leaning against the wall, not really sitting down.
Now that he has celerity, he has like the ADHD thing going on.
You just look very close. He's just actually blurred because he's vibrating so fast.
Maeve goes to lean against the wall, and she hits something before she hits the wall. And you hear one of the gargoyles. I've got this spot of wall. And then Charybdis fades into sight.
This is my wall. My wall.
So you've got the war council, and then you've got, Blackjack and another couple of the deputies leaned against the wall. Maeve's leaned against the wall. Both the gargoyles leaned against the wall. It's like the brute squad is propping the wall. So.
Yeah.
Most aggressive wall squad.
But once you arrive, the prince tells you they've decided to push forward with the assault on the Warrens.
Okay.
Arif and Henry have been working on working on on the ritual that Samuel had been researching.
Mm-hmm. It's one that Samuel knows, but it's not one that he has entirely the skill set to utilize best. Because that difficulty. Have you seen the difficulty for that one, Illuminate Trail of Prey?
I know I looked at it the other week when you brought it up. But...
Yeah, it's a class 3, so you have to beat 3 successes, 3 successes or more to use it. And the difficulty is 6, minus however many successes you get beyond 3.
What does that even mean?
Meaning if you get 4 successes, the difficulty to track using the illumination is a difficulty 5.
Gotcha. The actual tracking you have to do afterwards. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's right, because you were curious if there was a way to basically cast it on somebody else where they could do the tracking.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who may be better at it.
Yeah, someone who's better at tracking than Samuel is.
Give it to the gangrel.
Basically.
That's why he brought it up to the prince, like, hey, I know this ritual. I'm not the best at tracking, so it'd be hard for me to use, but I know it.
But anyway, they think the two of them think they have figured out a way, modifications to it to allow Samuel to put it on somebody else.
Okay.
So the prince is basically getting the rest of y'all ready for the assault. Of course, can't be sure how many people Dorcas has down there, since she seems to be using the Sabbat tactics to increase her numbers. The prince tells you he's been given a report on the man that you treated in the emergency room.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows that you're, Samuel. He knows you're aware of the spike in disappearances in the city.
Yeah.
What you don't know, and what that particular deputy did not know, was there had been they've been recovering some of the bodies.
Hmm.
The Nigh had like a mass grave set up somewhere. But there were, it was a couple dozen bodies, but still, that's pretty. That'd be a pretty massive something for the mortals of Huntsville to stumble over.
Absolutely, yeah. That would definitely have the Second Inquisition going.
So they have taken care of those bodies. It was all people that had been reported disappeared. Most of them did not have any wounds on the body. Certainly nothing that pointed to kindred.
Yeah.
It would have certainly made the news and had the police active, but it wasn't something that was necessarily a threat to the Masquerade directly.
Mm-hmm.
It leads him to believe the man that was attacked tonight, that was probably one of her fledglings, losing himself to the beast, or just being a schmuck, whatever. He has contacted a man that he knows to be an excellent tracker.
Okay.
Who should be on his way. So they're going to, you and Arif and or not Arif, but you and Henry and Abla, which I should have listed Abla as one of the people helping research how to make an alteration to this. I blanked for a second. That Arif is the scholar sort, not the scribe, not an actual blood sorcerer himself.
Yeah.
But all of you work together to perform the ritual.
Mm-hmm.
And how long does the ritual last once it's cast on somebody? They see that trail for. I know it was more than the one night. I think
it's one night on a standard success, 2 on a critical success.
Okay. So it's not based on how many successes you get, just whether or not it's critical or normal. Okay.
The however many successes you get is how basically bright the trail is.
Okay. So anyway, they will meet early tomorrow night, perform that ritual, put it on the tracker, and then the team he's assembling will go in. It's going to involve all of the Jones Valley Coterie, as all of you have proven to be very effective in a fight. And having Alexander present to be able to scout ahead would be useful.
Right.
As he is one of the few people going in that would have obfuscation. The Prince has a little bit, but...
Yeah. Also, I popped a rouse.
Okay, what were you rousing?
Premonition. See if I can learn anything.
6 successes.
4, 5, 6. You get a vision. There is a cave bathed in fire. The bodies of kindred are laid out everywhere. And in the midst of it all, and you know, it's like a dream where you're yourself, even though it's kind of first person. You're looking through your eyes. Details are sketchy. Like, it's the bodies of kindred laid out, but you don't really identify who they are.
Yeah.
There's fire everywhere in this cave. You see the Prince. You are able to identify him.
As
you see,
one of the bodies?
No, he is up. One arm is laying loose. But he's up in the center of the cavern. He's there. You recognize Russell Yu and the Libon. I wrote his name down somewhere. Anyway, Russell's business partner. Or, well, Russell's father's business partner, according to him.
Yeah.
Jabarl. That was his name, Jabarl.
Yeah.
So you see the Prince and those two at the feet of a giant of a man. He doesn't look like a real person to you. It's almost like an old sculpture with the whole ringlet beard. Dressed in kind of ancient Middle Eastern apparel.
Yeah.
Looking more like a sculpture than a person. But you can tell this is one of those visions that it's not. You're not seeing the literal event. You're seeing kind of a metaphorical version of it. The man seems to be ignoring them. He is locked into combat with some sort of reptilian creature. It's as big as he is. It towers over everybody else in the cavern. And they're just sort of locked in an embrace.
Like clashing, or
they're kind of clutched up. The man is biting into the reptile's neck. The reptile has got is biting down one of the guy's shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Not a careless whisper kind of situation.
No.
Okay.
Truthfully, the image that jumps to my head as far as the style of it, if any of you ever watched Babylon 5,
Yep.
Lando, and I forget the lizard guy's name.
Uh-huh.
The way they go out is locked around each other's throat.
Yeah.
It's really such a fitting in for the two of them.
Uh-huh. It really is.
Wow, spoilers to an old science fiction show.
Yeah, it's old now.
It's yeah.
And truthfully, you saw that well before the end of the series.
Mm. Okay, so basically I see Gilgamesh looking like he's chomping down on a dragon.
And the dragon is returning the favor.
Right.
Now, it's
And
not
I
a
see-
it's not a traditional European-looking dragon, or even a traditional, like Chinese dragon or anything. But if you had to put a name to it, dragon's about the only thing you could come up with.
So it basically is like what looks like SCP-682 or something.
No idea what that is. You lost me.
Don't worry about it. I'll throw a picture of it up later.
Isn't that the thing that just never dies?
The unkillable lizard, yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And kind of in the background in this cavern, you see some of the things that you had originally seen in the cave it was sleeping in. The ancient one was sleeping in.
Okay.
Uh,
Let's see, so Gilgamesh, Dragon, Prince, Jabbarl, Russell. Those are the only things that can be identified? Other than fire everywhere?
Fire everywhere and a bunch of kindred bodies laid out.
Okay.
Basically, the people you can identify, it's almost like you're looking at a painting where they're the center of the focus, or a little more detailed, and all the surrounding is just kind of background detail that's not as well defined.
Okay. And I'm sort of looking at it by my own perspective of where I am in that
Yes.
battle. Okay.
Seems like you may be laying on the ground, like propping yourself up, because you're even the regular people, you're kind of looking up at them.
Okay. Okay.
And when you
All
snap out of it, everybody in the room is looking at you.
That's a lot of fire.
Henry leans forward. What did you see, Samuel?
He'll look over at the prince, like, am I allowed to share?
Yes, tell them everything.
Well,
People I don't trust haven't been allowed into this council.
it was from my own perspective during a battle. Looked like I was on the ground and trying to prop myself up. There was bodies of kindred everywhere, littering the ground all over the place. The entire cavern on fire, just about. The only people upright were you, and he'll gesture to the prince. Although you look to be heavily wounded. Russell, you, and Jabral, his Libon. And what I believe to be the Methuselah that was currently locked in some kind of struggle of strength against what I can only assume to be a dragon.
David Chatham is nodding his head. So it was more of a symbolic vision than a literal seeing a future event.
It seemed to be. It's like...
dragon, and that's the Malkavian Primogen, in case anybody didn't remember.
It's like looking like being thrust into the forefront of a painting. Just one that I happen to be part of.
The prince kind of nods and says, well, that could be good. It implies that we managed to find them, at least.
Yes. You and the other two, the Liban and his, and Jabral, they were at the feet of the Methuselah. And the Methuselah and the dragon were locked in battle. He was biting into the dragon's neck, and the dragon was biting into his.
Everybody looks a little puzzled. I mean, like they're puzzling over what you've said.
Mm.
The prince is nodding his head, like he thinks he's figured something out. Well, we knew it was going to be a rough fight once we got down there. We'll go in forewarned that the old one may be awake, or may awaken when we get down there. Certainly dragon fire rounds for everyone.
How to make these dragon fire.
The prince looks at you. Blackjack, do you know how to fire a gun?
I'm not good at it, but I mean anyone can pull a trigger.
Everybody in the room that's actually trained with a gun looks at him like,
Anyone can move a lever. It's how to aim it properly and not hurt yourself with it.
The sheriff nods. Yeah, anybody can shoot themselves with a gun too.
Yeah. That just matches like the Bruja saying that, like, and then the two Tremere in the room were like, bitch. Because they're both old soldiers.
Yeah.
We may just put Blackjack on guard duty, looking after the tracker or something until we get thoroughly into combat. So there's some more talk about the logistics. You're all to meet at the Deschler house the next night, which, considering how many of you are staying in the Ledges right now, isn't really an issue.
Yeah.
And there's discussion on how not all the deputies are going. And there's some talk on how the remaining ones will be spread out through the city because they don't want to leave the city completely defenseless in case Dorcas has her people out doing something, or if the Anarchs in Decatur got kind of jumpy, or there's other potential threats to the city than just this. But eventually, around 4, he dismisses everybody.
Off to Castilton,
Samuel will actually. Did Alexander tell everybody of that event with the pregnant woman?
I don't know if he's had time yet.
I mean, whenever he has the time, yes, he'd happily, let people know, yeah, this happened.
Okay, then at 4, when y'all are leaving, he kind of gets the coterie together. Okay, this is what went down.
Group meeting. Yep, group meeting. Here we go.
Yeah, Samuel will. He'll ask Alexander to get some of his, get some of the Coterie contacts on keeping an eye on her, because we haven't used that class 3 contact advantage for the Coterie ever.
You just haven't needed it. Things have gone so smoothly for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, smoothly.
Smooth as butter.
So he's gonna ask them to get them on that. And then he will shoot a message to Walker, saying that, hey, you're I think it's his niece is what we kind of agreed on.
That's what he calls her. It's a weirder, more distant actual relation than that.
Right. I'll say that his niece had a bit of a scare, but things have been taken care of. She's not hurt in any way. Just a little bit shaken up.
You gotta mention. You're talking about that where. Are you talking about where that guy tried to mug her, or something else happened?
It's yeah, where that guy tried to mug her.
Oh, so it wasn't a mugging, and mugging comes out in parentheses.
Not as such.
Do you think she was being targeted, or was it just random?
Well, let's say the gang war from Decatur seems to be spreading a little bit. I think it was just random.
Me and some of my folks may roll up there to kind of keep an eye on her. Just to let you know in case you see us in the area. That's what we're doing.
He'll tell them do that tomorrow night.
Is something going on tomorrow night?
For better or worse. Might get a little loud.
We'll be up there. All right. So y'all retire for the evening. I guess that really only means Maeve and Blackjack leave the ledges.
Yeah,
Yeah.
off to Casa Rothenlund.
Temporarily, Casa del Blackjack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try not to let this one get burned down.
Back my bomb children.
Before Maeve leaves, the prince would ask her if Colin is still in the area.
She's gonna tell him that no, but he is close by.
If he would be interested in helping out, well, actually, he just tells you, ask him if he would be interested in helping out. I'll give him a little something to make it worth his while.
So she'll message Colin and be like, "Hey, so you want to go to a party tomorrow night?"
What sort of party?
The only type of party we like.
Will Grandmother be there?
Maybe.
Probably.
If it's a surprise party for Grandmother, I would love to be there.
I love all the double talk. It's great.
We didn't even throw grandmother's surprise birthday. Ooh, I must be there.
She's gonna be like CD said that he'll make it worth your while if you can definitely make it tomorrow night.
Well, then I'll be there. Just let me know where we're meeting.
She looks at the prince, be like, he said he'll be there. Just let him know where.
Okay, and he has you relay, meet him at the Deschler household. He'll let security know to let him in.
Yep, and she'll tell him that. So.
Alright, so the sun rises, everyone sleeps. You wake up the next evening. Everybody makes their way to the ledges. Don't worry about the rouse checks. The prince has a buffet set up.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, good.
I was about to say I'm glad because I just went to Hunger 4.
Oh no.
Jesus.
Just like slides in a Capri Sun.
Oh no, it's a line of people sitting in chairs. It's a fair amount of people. Several of them you recognize as ghouls because you can still feed off a ghoul like normal.
Yeah.
Several of them seem to be like random pizza guys, food delivery folks.
Oh no.
They are restrained in the chairs.
Uh-huh.
You're the worst. Vampires were like, oh no.
This one tastes like pepperoni.
Garlic. So everybody can feed until their hunger is down to 1.
Sweet. No, not 0. 1.
Is there at least any animals for those animal drinkers, or do they have to drink the human blood?
Well, the thing is farmers aren't restricted.
Oh, okay.
To only
Yeah.
feed.
They're preferred.
Yeah, it's our.
Actually, they would though, because Deschler knows that there's several farmers amongst
Vegan
you.
in the house.
So he'll make sure there's deers.
Alexander just brings up the pantry.
I mean, he would just like just have his own little personal snack of them. Just come on up like
Chicken pox.
It's Vampire Santa with his bag of rats.
No.
It's a little. It's a literal doggy bag.
It just amused me. It's like Josh's first exclamation. It didn't come out of his mic. It came out of Rappy's. So it sounded like him from a distance. Like, I got rats.
I brought pantry, boys.
But anyway, so y'all feed your ways down. And then as he's moving y'all out.
That reminds me.
Out of that room, a bunch of Nora's people start going through and basically memory wiping the random folks they had in there.
You got it. Just by. You
remember
got it.
this
Just by
one?
2.
Before I forget.
Oh, it would have been so funny if you'd gone to the next session without Laura Flames ready.
It's like,
Or
laughing
this
his songs
session, for
like,
that matter.
I know I have it on me. I know I've got it on me.
Mm-hmm. Although, to be real, after that, he wouldn't have been going anywhere without it.
Yes, the character, the player has to remember, or a storyteller can be like, no.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't prep it. You don't have it, bitch.
Alright, so that's 7 successes on the ritual roll. But then you also have to roll to not be afraid of the fire.
That's right.
Willpower? Willpower?
You can't willpower that.
I don't think you can willpower a frenzy.
Nope, you can't.
My dice.
And I believe you have to have a 2. Yeah, you have to have a 2.
Yeah.
Just makes it and then just yeets it.
Nah. I'm gonna try again.
Can you try again in one night?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just need another coal.
It's not like a long.
I mean, I'll probably have to do a rouse check to get more blood in there. But at that point,
I've
I'd
done
just...
it before the buffet.
Well, yeah, at that point, I would have bet again. But
All right, so you run after you feed. You run back and try one more time. Because frankly, by this point, you probably keep a coal soaking in blood.
yeah.
3 successes.
Just on top of the fridge.
Now,
Just a whole
gotta do
bunch
this
of coals.
again. Son of a...
That one you can willpower, though.
I'd have to succeed on every single one of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a
Man.
difficulty 5 ritual.
man, Samuel just under pressure is not performing well.
Unless we want to flip some of these rolls around.
Maybe you'll just have to go down there with the dragon fire rounds like everybody else.
Let's not just say we did.
I'm gonna keep doing this all night. Like, come on.
All right, so they gave you 3 successes, and how many do you have to have for that?
5.
5.
If you willpower roll 3 of those dice, that's... So there's
After the
3
second failure of the ritual, you get a text from Henry. Samuel, where are you? It's almost time to leave.
Busy, Dad.
Well, let me try again, would you?
The ritual does not take very long as you have the coals pre-prepped. And
Yeah,
you've been keeping this stuff ready to go. So I give you a 50-50 shot. If I get a success, I'll let you do it again. I mean, basically, you got another coal
or a
ready to go.
50-50 shot. That's like a...
You know, 6 or higher on a D10 is pretty much 50%.
Okay.
And I rolled a 7, so alright. Try again. This is your last shot, though.
I actually will be very annoyed if my dice fuck me over on this.
I'll feel sorry
Your
for
friends,
you.
you're good.
But on the other hand,
Frenzy's
I'll be
good,
tickled
Frenzy's
pink. Yep, it's very good on the frenzy check.
Got it.
The bare minimum, though.
Yeah.
Samuel is
Bare
too
minimum is the minimum.
Samuel is too
See
pissed off at
the
himself to be
degrees.
afraid.
Okay, yeah, and he'll just show up and is like, the coals were being a little obtuse.
Ah, a little nervous about the big night, I understand.
I'm gonna fight an old one.
Happens to a lot of guys.
At least we have fire.
Have you heard any word from Carl?
I've got a notice. Henry tells you he got a notice back that they have declared they basically put a sector-wide blood hunt on him.
Ooh.
I mean, he hasn't made the red list or anything quite that severe, but there's no Camarilla City he'll be safe in.
Okay.
Of course, that's true of the Bali in general, and they're still around. So
Yeah, but the Bali are considered boogeymen. Like, a lot of people didn't believe they still exist.
Henry assures you, Carl believed they exist.
Oh, I know he does. But I mean, just with like kindred in general.
Yeah. But there was an attempt to make them out like that.
Yeah.
For the longest time, they wouldn't admit to the existence of the antediluvians, and then the MSOB started getting up and doing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, well, okay. If the prince has a minute free, Samuel will go tell him, assuming Henry hasn't.
When you mention it to him, he's like, yeah, Henry let me know. So hopefully that will be the last we see of Alejandro.
Yep.
Either someone will kill him, or he'll just simply be in hiding for the rest of eternity.
Either way.
Yeah, a fitting end for someone whose lust for power got the better of him.
That's why I did my best to keep myself humble.
As you're talking to him, there's a knock on the door. The ghouls let somebody in. The prince goes, that should be our tracker now. Samuel, as you turn and look, you see a man dressed like he's getting ready to do some hiking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's got hiking boots on. He's got, he looks like somebody ready to go be active.
Mm-hmm.
You believe he's Native American. Oddly, he has a crow perched on his shoulder.
Maeve would recognize this person.
Oh, Maeve knows him the second he walks in.
Samuel just... Really?
No, Maeve would... No, well... Would Samuel recognize how Maeve described him?
Yeah, probably.
The crow on the shoulders are a pretty big tip-off.
Yeah. What a
Most
small
folks-
I mean,
crow.
just the fact that it's a native dude wouldn't particularly have triggered it, but that and the raven on his shoulder is like, okay.
It just
Most folks don't accessorize COVIDs.
Corvids.
Those two.
He looks over at the prince like, it's a small world.
Do you know a talk?
I do not personally. He points at Maeve.
Oh,
She
right.
does.
That's right. She helped Colin with the tablets.
I think we've run
Would
into it.
Colin have
road
told the
before.
prince that Grandmother Dorcas had sent people after for a talk?
I don't believe he had. And Colin is there with you at this point because
Okay.
he gives a talk kind of a gesture as he comes in. Some of the people in the room were looking at talk kind of weird, though. Like they realized that's not a kindred, and he just walked in.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, they're looking at me. Cool.
God.
As he walks by Colin and Maeve, he looks over and kind of acknowledges you. He walks up to where the prince and Samuel are standing. Charles? So tonight's the big night, huh? Charles didn't say anything, he just nods. About time, I suppose. To the room, Charles addresses the room, tells them all, this is a talk. I've worked with him many times. He's the best. He's the best tracker I've ever known. Which, considering that Charles is known to be a decent tracker, is probably saying something. A few people are kind of mumbling about the masquerade, But none of them seem to want to step up to Charles about it right at this moment. Samuel, you can see on Henry's face, Henry's a little concerned about this.
Is he still standing by Charles at the moment?
Henry, no, he was off talking to someone else.
No, I mean Samuel.
Oh, yeah, yes. You were standing there talking when a talk walked in.
So after all that and people start mumbling, Samuel just go, well, you seem to have ruffled a few feathers.
As you say that, the crow on his shoulder looks at you.
Samuel just...
Though if you glance at him, he quickly makes sure not to be looking at your eyes.
Oh, he learned.
Smart bird.
But Charles kind of herds everybody, gets everybody together. You go over the plan. There is one of the bedrooms in the house has been basically converted into a conference room. All the blood sorcerers are basically taken up there with the took. Charles asks if there's anything else that needs to be done. And we're gonna let Samuel roll for that ritual.
Of course.
Now, Henry and Abla are of course involved. Arif helps with some of the setup. He's not going to be performing the actual ritual, but as far as marking down some of the symbols used, and some of the accoutrements, setting them up,
Right.
he is knowledgeable of that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
As a talk. As a talk steps into kind of the center of the arrangement, the crow kind of hops off and goes and settles on the back of a chair.
Mm-hmm. All right. So is there any kind of modifier bonus for Henry and Abla assisting, or?
I guess that's probably worth a couple of extra dice.
How many is a couple?
A couple is 2.
I was
No,
about to say,
go ahead and
okay.
give yourself 4 extra dice. But if you remember when we first brought this up, I believe I said the difficulty was going to be 1 higher.
Yep, so it'd be a difficulty 4 ritual. As opposed to difficulty 2.
But with these others 2 helping you with the ritual, that shouldn't be too big a deal.
Do
Oh,
not
Tempest
tip my
dice.
dice.
There's no way your dice will fail you at this moment. Embarrass you in front of the prince and everybody.
Voodoo out there.
Okay.
Fail. 7,
Oh, 8.
9.
That's 10 successes,
7, 8.
I think. Yeah.
Yes, because you got 2 10s, so yeah.
So that is
That also
that is
makes
so
it,
bright. He has no difficulty tracking.
I say that also makes it a critical success, so it lasts for more than the 1 day.
It lasts for 2 days, and it brings the difficulty down to 0 to track.
Holy smokes! Oh, that's right, because that's by 6. Samuel could have used it on himself.
Yeah, he could have.
We didn't know that though.
No, we did not.
You were due a critical at some point, let's be real.
There.
As you're doing this, Samuel will give me... Let's see, this would be with awareness. And I will roll for Henry and Abla.
Okay. Is this a hidden thing?
Oh, not something your ability would help you with, no.
Okay.
It's just something that not necessarily easy to notice.
Right.
Though, man, if Abla didn't notice it, she critted on that.
I only got 3 out of 10.
Henry did not notice.
Although, with Samuel casting the ritual, he probably wouldn't have been able to anyway. He'd probably be so focused on that ritual.
Mhm.
To be fair.
Yeah, 3 was not enough to see anything weird.
Yeah.
But you do notice Abla looks a little disturbed. But you know, a talk lets you know that you know he is seeing the path, the path of light that you had told him the ritual would allow him to see.
Yeah, basically it's like with once the white satin ribbon burns up, Samuel get the ashes, smear it onto his thumbs, and just put it over his eyes, sort of like as a horizon, and then sort of like an extra eye on his forehead that he makes with the ash.
Yeah, well, you know, once you complete all that, it looks like, he definitely sees that path you're talking about. This should be extremely easy to follow.
Mm.
As they all head down, Abla kind of puts a hand on your arm to kind of slow you down as Henry and all file out. Henry and the Took file out of the room.
Yeah. Are you all right? You looked a little disturbed there for a moment.
When you first completed the ritual, did you notice the man's eyes?
I was focused on making sure the ritual went correctly. It's a little harder to cast on someone else.
Yes. It's like his eyes. His eyes reacted like he'd had a bright light suddenly flashed in him. Except they didn't have a pupil that got smaller, turned into slits.
Common either feline or reptilian trait.
His eyes were already green, but even the
What
white
color
seemed to have.
What color were the scales of the dragon in the vision?
Kind of a green gray.
Okay. Samuel will pause and like, scales of the dragon in that vision were a greenish color as well.
What has Prince Deschler invited into his house?
A dragon.
It could potentially be the dragon.
I'm sure it's not connected at all.
As you're talking about this, you realize the crow is still sitting on the seat.
Samuel turns.
Y'all are over here. He's looking over this way.
Samuel turns and looks at the crow.
Forget you heard any of this.
Does the crow make eye contact at all?
Nope. He looked down at the floor. He hops down. He walks out of the room.
That is a smart crow. It learned its lesson.
Could it be the man's familiar?
I think so.
That crow turned into a man, remember?
You're not sure it's the same crow? There could be all kinds of magic crows flying around. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Either way. Are you ready?
She nods. I'll admit, I kind of wish I'd learned that fire trick that you and Henry can do. But,
You any good with a firearm?
yes, I've been traveling with Bruce and Anya for a while. I'm competent with one.
He'll hand her a shotgun with the dragon fire rounds.
Probably the one he took back from Travis.
Yeah, basically.
Blackjack has.
Well,
that.
then-
I say Blackjack took that one.
We call it the trader's boomstick. Here you go.
No, he'll have if Blackjack doesn't have it, or if Blackjack does have the one that Travis dropped.
Yeah.
He does? Okay. So Samuel will unsling his shotgun with the bandolier of ammo, and he'll hand it over to her.
Okay.
Loaded with dragonfire rounds. It's no fire ritual, but fire all the same.
Don't have to
Well, it'll
rouse
do
it
it a
3
pinch.
times.
She goes, and I am not without my skills in combat. Crap. I forget what that ritual is that you spit the poison. But
There's
Scorpion?
2 of them.
Oh.
Scorpion blood one?
Beg
There's Scorpion's Touch, which is the level 3 blood sorcery power, and then there's Ball's Caress, which is the level 5.
Oh, well, she does not have
I
level
was
5.
about to say the same thing.
How long does the ritual on the stake last? Because Blackjack still has that too.
Oh, that's correct.
That would have worn away a long time ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
just wondering.
It's not a ritual, it's a power. It just lasts for the scene.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Ball's Caress, Baal.
Yeah, that was.
We know exactly how it's spelled. It's still a horrible name.
Yeah, I know. But that one, if Samuel gets to level 5 blood sorcery, Sarah.
Somebody to do it. We were all thinking. I'm jumping on that.
Yeah. If Samuel gets to 5 and learns that one, it goes like, hey, so I heard you like doing aggravated damage to vampires. With a stick!
Excuse me a second.
Really correct.
At some point, as
Woman,
we're
I'm gonna smack
like leaving and everything,
Mhm.
Blackjack will be like, hey Sam, I'm not really good with these. You want this back? He's like, opens his trench coat and there's the shotgun.
Do Bruce or Anya have one?
I don't know.
Did Bruce and Anya have one?
You see them, setting up their gear. They don't look like they need a shotgun. Bruce has got some kind of combat shotgun on him, and they both got what you're assuming are some kind of small automatics.
Okay.
I hold on to it for sentimental reasons, but
Well,
I don't really need it.
You might as well hold on to it. My own thaumaturgy will be more effective.
Fair enough. Back in the trench coat.
Just opens up the trench coat. There's an entire house in there.
It's bigger on the inside.
This coat.
Anyway.
You open the trench coat, and according to Otter, you then roll for psychological damage.
Oh,
You're not wrong.
No, you're not wrong at all. Or good on you.
I fail.
All right. So you load up. It's just a caravan of vehicles leaving. Let's see. Scylla stays behind to watch over the ledges. Doesn't seem to be very happy about it. Charybdis takes
So
the air and is
like
following the
this.
vehicle. Yep, it was another. They threw chops. That's all you see out of the corner of your eyes. And then Charybdis throws his hands up in the air.
They, like, all 90% of their who gets to stay, who gets to go.
Why do I get this feeling that there's just the chaotic bastard energy that is our coterie has just been slowly humanizing the kindred of Huntsville?
So this isn't the first time you've seen Scylla and Charybdis do this to solve something.
Prince has just given up. Just like, you two sort it out.
One of you stays, and that was the only order he gave. One of you stays and watches the ledges. Clearly, as far as skill, he looks at them as interchangeable.
Fair enough.
Jolene's the only thin blood he's taking. Y'all are going to be traveling in one group. If you have to split it for some reason, Samuel would go with one of you, and Jolene could go with the other group.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do my power-ups now before next session where we all forget about it.
What's that?
I'm gonna do all my power-ups now because we're gonna forget about it next session.
Oh, we never do that.
Oh, you'll power up now and then forget about it.
Okay, get a little hungry for. So I have activated prowess and I've raised my strength up.
Okay.
Hey, get on.
If anybody's going to follow Deca's example, be sure to write it down.
Mm-hmm.
Because you all know how good I am at taking notes.
I will when we get there.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna assume I did it next session. I'm gonna say 2 rounds checks like, I did it. There they are.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'll do this.
Next campaign, though, I'm using stick-it notes. And I'm just going to
There
put them
you
on
go.
shelves up behind here.
Just a whiteboard with string behind you and character names.
Look, I've gotten to where I use the little stick-it notes on the computer where my desktop is littered with that crap.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so y'all take off, following the lead vehicle.
I put it in
Oh.
chat.
Oh, Otter has given us a party boon.
Ooh.
Ooh.
What does that?
Woo.
What does that mean, storyteller?
Yes.
Yeah.
It means he's giving you something that will benefit the party.
Hey.
Oh yeah.
We appreciate the honor.
And I'll tell you what it is next week.
That little look of like, shit, now I have to make something up.
It's Carl. Hello.
Nuke.
So I heard you like tactical nuke incoming.
Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can show you guys this. But Vinny
Mm-hmm.
is in the public's bag. He's that little darkness at the edge of the chairs. He's sleeping he's like inside the bag.
If it fits, it sits.
Sits.
That is that cat though. If there's a bag
need to,
open somewhere, he's just like bag.
I think.
But
Yep, there we go.
maybe the party boon will be, if y'all lose really bad, the Second Inquisition shows up.
How's that a boon?
Maybe they shoot the other guys first. I don't know. It would just be an excuse for me to scream. No one expects the Second Inquisition.
Uh-huh.
They just take a rocket launcher to it.
I mean, you joke, but the Inquisition hunters literally have a bonus. Like, I heard you like rolling more dice than a Limp Bizkit song when you ambush something.
They just have their specialty.
Can
That's
we
all.
not?
All right. Oh.
It's nuts. Last time I rolled something as a 100 was so 22 dice for this one attack roll.
So my entire dice bag got it.
So anyway, you end up heading to the north part of the city.
Mm-hmm.
Not all the way back to the quarry, but it's kind of in that area, that same little, section of hills and mountains or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not where you originally saw the Ancient One's resting place.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all been there, y'all had ventured down there and seen where everything had been moved.
Right.
Without air, he gets out, he walks straight up the side of the mountain, finds a concealed entrance. Shoves some rocks out of the way. he doesn't display any strength like on the level of like blackjack, flipping a car or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But the rock that he shoves out of the way with relative ease shows that he's physically pretty stout. Not necessarily anything more than mortal.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Boy. Just concerned.
Doubt.
Everybody's got their game face on, and as y'all go up there, Bruce and Anya kind of take off to the side slightly. Jolene is kind of in the center.
I'm not squishy.
I'd be down for Jolene.
But
3 seconds from just chugging the fly potion.
Can't fly in a cave.
I don't know. It was a big enough cave for a dragon to stand in. Flying uppercut.
Do you really want to be in the face of a dragon?
I'll get back.
That's what I thought.
It would be a glorious way to die if you had to die.
It's fair.
You get to judgment. How'd you die? Uppercut a dragon. It was not amused. I thought it was great.
Thin Bloods just get talked about a whole lot better. One of them uppercut a dragon. I mean, they died 3 seconds later, but they uppercut a dragon.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, Jolene and Samuel are told to keep their eyes on a swivel, keep their heads on a swivel.
Heightened senses on.
She'll have chugged the ICU potion.
How dark is it?
It's pretty dark.
All right.
I mean, you've got the lights of the city in the background. It's the moon is out. It's not too cloudy.
Maeve is then gonna pop what is it called?
What is it? Eyes of the Beast or something like that?
Yeah.
Jolene has that as well. She'd actually probably just use Eyes of the Beast. Well, no, that won't let her see anything obfuscated,
Right.
correct?
That just gets rid of any fears
okay.
of darkness.
Yeah, it's just see in the dark.
Yeah, probably still be useful once you got into the caves if you got separated from the guys with lights. But Bruce and Anya actually have like the light amplification goggles kind of tech.
Can I just have like a flashlight or something?
Now I think about it, Alexander actually has that too, so he just was like, alright, well, if everybody else can see in the dark, just...
Yes, you can have a mag light with you.
Just have like a mag light just like this?
Several of the guys do. You're basically told don't use them until we get in the cave, though.
Sure.
So everybody that can see obfuscated, give me alertness rolls. Wits awareness, rather.
Gotcha. Oh. Since we got there, I have 2 rolls to make first.
Oh god.
Wow.
F.
Give me a mo.
I mean...
You can will roll it the other 3.
I'm not gonna roll it because I might need that later.
Same, actually. I'll act oblivious, if nothing else.
Jesus Christ.
Like, all 4 of my dice just flipped me off and said, nah, you ain't Samuel, you ain't getting shit.
Can you even see other?
Yeah, this was only for the people that can see obfuscated stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you can't see obfuscated, then there was no point.
Which is why my dice flipped me off.
The dice are like, you don't even go here.
Right? What are you trying to do?
Boy, were you not paying attention? Huh.
So
Alright, but Jolene got a 2, so she doesn't see anything.
Alright, Samuel's like seeing into the void.
Well, you got to be careful with that because the void is actually a thing in vampire.
Mm-hmm. The abyss, absolutely.
You see someone further up the hill.
Uh-huh.
You got your enhanced senses going too, so you can make out the details. Clearly, it's a Nos.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not just like standing out in the open, but he's perched up on a rock with what looks like a sniper rifle.
Right, so Samuel is going to...
And you recognize it as
the
one of the former
coal.
deputies, so you know it's not a newbie.
Yeah, Samuel's going to crush the coal in his pocket, and he's going to try to snipe him with Lure Flames.
Alright, give me a roll.
Alrighty.
As our hearts sing in the chaos.
13 dice.
At least we're not on a bridge.
6 successes.
14 dice, but yes, 6 successes.
Alright, and he rolls to avoid that with his... Like it's a ranged attack, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so he needs his dex. Alright, so it's his dexterity. And his athletics. I'm going to penalize him a little bit though, because you know
He's prone.
he didn't realize he'd been spotted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I work under the complete assumption I am not seen.
You know, it's literally just
It's their job to not be seen, so
Yeah.
you get a little confident in it.
Well, like I said, he wasn't standing out in the obvious, but he had to move into position, and that was just a really good roll on Samuel's part. So he was fairly well hidden anyway, even without obfuscation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just how quickly he can react when Samuel just suddenly goes,
Surprise!
"Ew."
Just evil monkey, like...
Alright, he got 2 successes,
Alright.
and Samuel rolled 6, so that is 4 successes, which I believe means 4 aggravated damage.
Correctamundo. And I do believe he's on fire.
On fire.
It also drops the obfuscation.
Mm-hmm.
That's at least his problems right now.
Pretty much.
Like I said, he's up the hill a ways, so it's like none of the shooters down on the ground will take a shot at him at that distance.
Yeah.
With your see the unseen, though, or sense the unseen, you do see Charybdis, making a dive for him. You hear a top looks at the crow on his shoulder, go, and it takes off towards the fire itself.
Oh, to have wings.
Mm.
Well, you know some Tremere. You can get them to experiment on you. See if they can
Or
make you a
just Julian
gargle.
could like grab him by the back of the shirt and like.
You know, actually, there is a ritual for that. There's legitimately a ritual for flight.
Yeah, even hedge mages can do it at a certain level.
Mm-hmm. Although I remember in the description it says it is heavily frowned upon.
I was gonna roll to take a shot for somebody if that guy managed to fire.
Oh, but how badly did that Nos panic, if at all?
Oh, that is true.
Did he panic so bad he fell off the cliff?
If he did he will.
Let's see. Being
I need a
burned.
Willem stream.
No, he is cool as a cucumber.
Okay.
Until the gargoyle
No,
beats
he's-
his ass.
He's like, oh, alright, I'm burned. Pow! Flattened.
So what you see, Samuel, since you're the only one with the vision turned on up enough, you see Charybdis diving at him. You see the crow. Charybdis comes down, punches him once, but then he's kind of hesitant because the dude is still on fire. You see the crow come down behind him, and then just in an instant, it's a person who proceeds to stab the guy in the back with this kind of bulky, almost ritualistic-looking
Knife.
bladed weapon.
Nice.
Kind of knife or dagger. I mean, it's not like a big-ass sword or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely a big knife.
Yeah.
Ritualistic claymore.
Zweihander.
At that point, Charybdis takes several steps back and kind of goes into a, defensive pose. But you see the young man with the knife, stabs the Nos a couple more times.
Mm-hmm.
Gives a little salute to Charybdis and then turns back into a crow. Goes back down to his buddy's shoulder.
Just clack and.
And Charybdis is sitting there like, what's that?
Says the gargoyle.
And Maeve is just gonna say under her breath, I knew it.
Samuel just sighs. Shakes his head.
Take it, the pot started already?
As y'all get to the cave, Charybdis comes and lands. He walks up and talks to the prince. Samuel can hear it clear as day.
Mm-hmm.
He's just telling him, the dude turned into an Indian with a big knife. Native American, excuse me. Charybdis corrects himself. But,
Did you get the sniper rifle?
Charybdis looks very embarrassed for a second. Well, he was kind of on fire, and we don't really need a sniper rifle in a cave anyway, do we?
I like high-powered weaponry, even if I'm not really good at it. It's good practice, you understand?
But Sam, you hear the prince tell him not to worry about it. Yeah, he was aware of the... he was aware of the crow's actual nature.
Mm-hmm.
The knife was a bit of a surprise, but he's heard of such things. You also hear Charybdis tell him he's pretty sure that knife sent the Nos to its final death. He was already starting to kind of decay away before Charybdis left the body.
Samuel in the back just nodding. Other people going, is he headbanging? What's going on?
I want that sniper rifle.
Alright, but y'all venture further into the caves. A Took slows down once he gets in the cave. He assures you he's having no problem seeing the path at all, but he also sees evidence of people passing through here on a regular basis. And he's really kind of on the lookout for booby traps, since they clearly know they're at war. And sure enough, not too far in, he finds a tripwire, traces it back. It was essentially wired to some C4. Would have collapsed the cave roof if somebody had triggered it. Which, puts you all on guard.
Yeah, Samuel will actually step up with a talk. And sort of, while he's looking for the physical stuff, Samuel will be looking for anything, like, if they managed to find someone that did anything with blood sorcery or anything like that.
Okay.
He'll be looking more for, like, supernatural traps.
You're not seeing anything like that, as y'all travel further in.
Still, he'll be up there as a just in case. I mean, he'll use his enhanced senses to help spot things if necessary, but he's mostly looking for anything supernatural that might be trapped.
Give me a good roll with your enhanced senses. Well, with awareness.
Gotcha.
As our vampire game suddenly becomes a dungeon crawl.
Sounds about
It
right.
was always coming this way. Oh, jeez.
Only
Only
4
33 episodes.
You spot a little bit further on. After he's found another tripwire that seems to have just been set up to an alarm. Though why they'd have the alarm? I guess the alarm was after the explosion, in case that somebody got past that. Took disarms that, and you spot several hundred yards further in a camera. It's a fairly small one. It's kind of up in a crevice.
Is that one of those Walmart security ones where it's just like a little globe?
No, it's smaller than that.
Samuel will sort of stops as if he's standing by a talk. We're being watched.
He looks around. Clearly he didn't see the camera until you said something about that, and then he kind of, you see where he kind of spots it. I don't see any wires.
Could be running inside the crevice elsewhere.
Yeah, he goes, that's a possibility. I wouldn't think they'd get good Wi-Fi down here.
Well, you'd be surprised from what Alexander tells me.
Do you need to rip that thing out?
What was that, Blackjack?
Do you need me to rip that thing out? I could probably get a good...
A talk chick said. If somebody's monitoring it, they've already seen us. There's really no point in...
Fair enough.
It's high enough up there to be a pain to get to. When you get down, you keep traveling down, you get to a junction where it's like several tunnels. And the tunnels you're in right now do not appear to be natural. The initial cave entrance y'all entered looked pretty natural, but then it quickly got where this is worked stone.
Okay.
No great skill involved.
Just carved in.
Yeah, but clearly it was created.
The rats are digging warrens.
But you hit a part that seems to be a junction. The tunnel you're in seems to meet up with a natural tunnel. There's a few other tunnels that shoot off from it. Now you figure you're about halfway down the mountain from where the cave was, because the cave was like at the top of the thing or anything.
Okay.
As you step in there, with your enhanced senses, Samuel, you hear kind of a slight metallic ching.
Would it be something he could have maybe spotted before we stepped in there?
No, this is something you hear, not something you see.
Okay.
Give me... what would this be? Because this is kind of tapping into a memory.
Oh.
Give me a wit...
Aspects?
I don't want it to be awareness. It's like it really ought to be something else. I mean, because hearing it is not the issue.
Intelligence?
Well, I got him rolling wits to see if he recognizes it quickly enough. Throw your Auspex dice in there and give yourself one extra dice for your for a background that will become relevant if you, or you'll understand its relevance if you
Okay.
make the roll. I mean, your character
So-
background, not an actual background in game.
Right. So wits.
Auspex
Wits Auspics. Okay.
With Aspects +1?
+1, yes.
I can just roll my Sense the Unseen, because that has that built in.
That'll work. As long as the dice comes out the same.
Would this be with the enhanced senses or just with the +1?
Just the +1, because like I said, you don't have any trouble hearing it. It's in that split second deciphering what it is.
Okay. 3.
Okay. You're a military veteran.
He is.
You've heard pins pulled on grenades before.
Who's the closest one to him?
A talk is right next to you. Blackjack was talking to you, so I'm going to assume he was standing behind both of you.
Pretty close, yeah.
He's going to grab them both and pull.
Whoa. What's going on?
As you're pulling back, you hear the kind of metal on stone a couple times, and you see the grenade go flying.
Does it go anywhere near him?
It's kind of getting into the middle of the chamber, so close enough to be a danger to all of you, but to all you kind of guys in the front rank.
Is there any hope of me seeing it as it's hitting the ground?
Give me an awareness, wits.
Wits? Okay. Awareness. Wits. 2 successes.
I'm going to say that's enough, because as Samuel's grabbing you, that's letting you know something's wrong.
And I see it, and then I'm just like... Blackjack is... I wanna fucking grab that thing and chunk it back.
You have celerity. It is a possibility.
I do.
Do you have your celerity activated?
It's... Not... It's just fleetness, right? Or is it a rouse check for the fleetness?
You're right. Just the fleetness is probably fine. It's probably automatic. I mean,
if it gives you a reaction time fast enough to dodge a bullet.
It's a rouse check, and then I can add my celerity rating to dice pool for non-combat dexterity tests.
the non-combat dexterity checks.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all fleetness does.
Go ahead and give me a roll.
Sure.
Dex Athletics.
Mm-hmm.
This is you trying to catch the grenade, basically. You know, it bounces once, and you try to run up and catch it.
Do I add my celerity to that?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead and add the celerity dice.
4 successes.
Okay.
The
All right.
only reason I got anything worth the damn is because I have celerity.
So yeah, it tink, and then as it's going down for the second, you kind of run up, kind of half slide. You grab it,
Check it back.
and you're just planning to throw it down the hallway it came, or the corridor it came from.
In the general direction it came from.
Yeah. All right, so you slide forward, you grab it, you arch back over, you rear back, and we're gonna call it there.
All right.
Before you know whether it blows up in your hand or you get to throw it, because it is after 9.
It is.
Blackjack will absolutely make that hero play 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Blackjack just boom doesn't get a chance
All right.
to throw it.
Well, if you don't see me next session, you know why.
Okay, speaking of next session, we had been talking like there was going to be 2 more sessions after tonight, but not everybody could make it to that last one due to unforeseen and unavoidable circumstances.
Yes.
So next week will be the last session because we want to make sure everybody is here.
Yes.
I will just be a little late like I was today.
And I'll warn our viewers and our players, we may run long next week.
That's fine.
I'm totally
Okay with
down
that.
for that.
You know,
We will run long.
We absolutely
likely.
will run long.
more than
Because
more than
I'm
most
off next
likely.
Wednesday,
Run long.
so that's fine.
I'm just letting everybody know to come prep for that.
Okay.
11 o'clock, I'm fine with this.
Okay,
I'm
not
off
that
Wednesday,
long.
so I'm okay with that.
That I might not be able to do because I think I open that day.
You
next
open
day.
Wednesday. You're off Thursday, Saturday.
Well, hopefully it won't be more than a half
That
hour. So,
coffee, man. Chug that
Okay.
coffee.
anyway. So I want to thank my players. Hope y'all had a good time. I certainly enjoyed running for you. I want to thank everybody in the chat, which admittedly was mostly Otter. So thank you, Otter. And thank everybody though that was there. You know, even if you weren't commenting, that you were there watching. Thank you.
Yeah. We appreciate your faces, even if we can't see them.
And some of the names I've been seeing, you know, a lot of weeks. You know, for most of the campaign. So thank y'all for that. Let's see, where was I? Because I think last week I think I forgot to hype the other shows. Well, you know, we ran along, and I'm not sure if any of them actually ended up airing last time. I forget.
We are the hype.
Thursdays did. Oh God.
Thursdays did okay. Anyway, should have a Monster of the Week tomorrow. That's run by V. Thursday should be Maddie's Descent into Avernus. Take a break on Friday. Saturday is the Stolen Cities. And then the Troubleshooters on Monday. And then we'll be back Tuesday, where we will wrap up this campaign.
I know what happens to these chaotic bastards.
Yeah,
I've been your storyteller for the evening, Jason, and with me has been Sarah playing Jolene, Eric playing Samuel, who either had too much caffeine while we were playing or really has to go to the bathroom. I can't tell which, but he's doing some kind of little dance back there.
Caffeine. I'm betting
Yeah.
Duba playing Alexander, Rap playing Maeve, and Deka playing Blackjack. Maybe for the last time, depending on how that grenade goes off.
Well, technically, next episode is the last time any of us are playing this character.
Fair
Also
point.
true.
Fair point.
It just depends on how much of the episode we get to play.
So anyway, we will see
Jason
y'all
just cracked
next
out
time.
the Wraith book for a second.
Put my credits up.
Bye.
They can't see you wave. The credits are up.
I do it anyway. I've been doing this for the
They can
last.
see it in spirit. The last 2 campaigns.